The film begins in an old mining area in France where strange things are happening that make people tell very old legends and tales about a hideous monster that has been trapped underground for 3,000 years. Now, it has turned into a terrifying being. We're in the year 1965. A young man named Amir has a powerful nightmare where he sees miners dying while trying to escape from this terrifying creature. He wakes up, frightened from the dream, and quickly goes to speak to his friend, who thinks they must hurry to get to their work. The boys rush to a place where people gather looking for tough jobs with good pay in the mines. Their boss is holding 2 stones that resemble chess pieces, one red for those unsuitable for the job and one green for those accepted. He starts walking down the line and declines Amir, but the boy from his group quickly snatches the green stone from the hiring manager's hand and begins marking himself with a lot of green markings. People laugh at the boy, but they take him along to work. They head to a mining company in a region called Baticali in northern France. Amir is happy and unaware that he has been assigned to the 5th mine, which the workers call the Devil's House. One day, a famous scientist named Professor Berther arrives and specifically wants to descend into this 5th mine, which is usually reserved for criminals and those under judgment. At that moment, the boss, Roland, has brought up an injured miner to the surface. Berther announces that he wants to go down with him. Meanwhile, a group arrives at the mine, which consists of extra workers from Morocco. Amir is assigned to Roland's team and meets a miner named Santini, who shows him how things run there. Roland assigns a supervisory expert to the new worker, Amir, and orders him to go down. Inside the mine, Amir feels uneasy and uncomfortable, but like anyone else deep down, he turns on his headlamp and takes his tools. The work is very difficult, and the boy injures his hand with the large drilling machine. So, Roland sends him to the horse handler. Amir is surprised when he sees a live horse that is also blind. It turns out they will soon be replaced by a machine, and this horse is the last in the mine. Then Roland notices that a rat has entered Amir's bag and is eating his food. He explains that rats sense danger before it happens, which is why miners eat them, and he gives Amir an apple instead of the ruined sandwich and orders him to continue working. After the shift ends, Amir feels very tired but is not ready to give up. After a week, Roland announces that Professor Berther will join them in the mine that day. They'll receive good money for that, and the professor explains that he needs to reach a specific location, so the workers must blow up a wall. Quickly, the people descend into the depths, and Roland hands over the job of explosives to the explosives expert. After the explosion, a hole appears in the ground, and the workers are stunned. Working in empty places like this underground is very dangerous. Roland tries to find out what exactly the professor's looking for, but when he doesn't get an answer, he throws Berther's notebook into the hole. The professor prepares to descend first because he must find the notebook. Quickly, the professor finds himself in the tunnels of the old mine. The others follow him, and Roland recalls an old miner's tale about the curse of St. Louis. It is said that 100 years ago, a fire broke out in the old mine, and they could not extinguish it. And unfortunately, 30 miners did not survive. Then they bricked up this mine, leaving the bodies in some place. While the workers look around, Berther disappears, and Roland divides his men into 2 groups. Then they go in different directions to search for Berther. People shout and call out to the professor, but there is no response. Suddenly, Amir's group finds a human skeleton holding a strange geometric object with many faces, like a crystal. The young man picks it up, then examines the dead man's hands and sees that his fingers are crushed. On the wall, there is an inscription that says that everyone present here is cursed because there is a hidden monster in the darkness that chases and hunts them. Santini makes a joke to lighten up his friend's tense atmosphere. Then they continue on their way and meet Roland's group, who also have found human bones. Here, they see a light ahead that is clearly from Berther. The workers quickly catch up with him and ask why he brought them here, as no one believes the stories of this strange creature. So he promises to tell them everything if they continue forward again. The explosives worker makes another explosion, opening a passage to the next corridor. Berther runs inside and is amazed by the drawings on the walls. He is indeed taking samples from the walls and states that they are thousands of years old. While the others proceed, they find a complete pile of human bones along with ancient weapons. Berter cannot explain what happened. Maybe they were guards protecting a sacred place. Then the torchlight illuminates an ancient stone coffin. Berter says that according to the legend, this could be an ancient god that lived in these tunnels. When Roland demands they return, the professor takes pictures of the place. The workers head towards the exit where the ladder is already installed and the horse is waiting. But suddenly, the horse breaks free and runs into the darkness, and no one understands what has happened. Suddenly, a collapse occurs, and the entrance to the corridor is blocked by stones. When people regain consciousness, it becomes clear that Santini is badly injured, and it also becomes evident that no one is above in the mine. And because Berter demanded complete secrecy, Roland struggles to control his anger and curses this scientist, but he must care for the injured first. So he sends the others to search for an exit while he treats the injured man's leg. The men spread out in different directions while Roland shares his thoughts with a miner accompanying him. At that moment, Amir finds his companions who have returned to the coffin and are trying to open it. The young man tells them not to do that, but they don't listen. However, the lid is very heavy and does not open with force. Then Amir remembers the strange object he found and examines it, discovering it is a magnet. He recalls the inscription on the wall that was a palindrome. He finds an opening in the coffin's lid and places the object he found inside. At that moment, they hear a sound and the lid moves. Under it, something is covered with cloth and expensive silicone, which looks very valuable. They rush to cut pieces of this silicone to take it because the mine is about to close, and they will not have any source of livelihood. Amir tries to stop them, but they shout at him and threaten him with violence if he tries to trick them. Amir runs into the darkness, sits by the wall, and cries for himself. Meanwhile, the people at the coffin are arguing about disrespecting the dead. They are not aware of something rising from the coffin. Amir hears screams and sees the miners who opened the grave running toward him. The three try to tell him that something is alive behind them. Roland does not believe this until suddenly long skeletal-like fingers come out of the darkness and drag one of the miners inside. The rest run away in fear and quickly find a blood trail leading them to their unfortunate friend's corpse. They treat Berter seriously and consider him a prisoner, as he admits that no one will disturb them for the next 10 hours. He knows nothing special about this place, but there's evidence that this was an unknown civilization that lived here for centuries. They worshiped the god in the coffin that supposedly descended from the heavens more than 3,000 years ago. They all worshipped him because they were afraid of him. But then Amir interjects, saying, "This is not a coffin. It turned out to be a prison." He can draw a map of the corridor and show where everything is. Then everyone remembers Santini and rushes toward the rubble. At that moment, the injured man hears strange voices and lights the corridor with his lamp. Suddenly, they see something huge with long claws and scream in terror. The miners discover the empty stretcher that their friend was sleeping on. But when they shine inside the pit, they see the monster holding Santini with its claws and then tear him apart in front of the others. The angry workers decide to lure the monster into a tunnel and blow it up with the remaining explosives. But they must decide whether to kill the monster or escape. Then Berter suggests they return to the coffin to read the inscriptions, and most likely they indicate a way out, because the ancient residents certainly had a route to come here. The miners go to the coffin and quickly find a place where human skeletons are thrown between iron bars. At first glance, it looks like a prison, but Berter clarifies that these were volunteers who sacrificed themselves for the god. At least that's what is written on the wall. They continue their way and find more blood on the walls and inside a burial room where there is a complete lake of blood. Berter prepares to go there first, and Amir goes with him. But inside, they find nothing but a horse's corpse. However, as soon as they enter the room, the professor steps on some secret mechanism, and the entrance is closed with a stone. Amir screams in terror, and Berter is astonished. He truly thought he could trust the miners. As soon as they find a way out, they will kill him immediately. Berter and Amir begin to read the inscriptions on the walls and learn that there are 9 such tombs in the world. When the time comes, these sleeping people will wake up, and until then, they must be fed volunteers. But in the end, a king must come and kill these monsters and take his rightful place. Then Amir finds the palindrome, which leads the professor to conclude that the entrance is also the exit. When the horse's corpse begins to move and a monster emerges from it, Amir runs toward the arm. The professor is delighted by his first encounter with an alien when the professor throws himself into his arms, spreading his terrifying arms. Amir sees him dying in the monster's hands and runs toward the miners. The miners on the other side help him escape, and the door closes again. Amir promises to rescue everyone based on the professor's notes, all while being unaware that the monster is indeed opening the door, and quickly the people are at a crossroads. While Amir reads the notes, they suddenly hear distinctive sounds. Roland suggests they turn off the lights and everything calms down. But when they turn on the lights, the monster is very close. With one blow, it kills one of them and drags another into the darkness. Amir and Roland manage to escape, and the boss asks the young man to find a way out. But suddenly he warns that if this monster escapes, it will kill the whole village. Roland is furious because he lost all his friends and Amir means nothing to him. From that moment on, everyone goes their separate ways. But Amir talks about the palindrome and points in a direction, and quickly they reach a new giant tomb. This turns out to be that of long-lost miners. Roland realizes that the only exit was from here, but after the mine collapsed, they bricked it up. However, there is a well designed for sacrifice that goes directly to the surface. Amir immediately understands where they need to go, but suddenly the monster's hands appear in the gap, grabbing the boy's legs and pulling him down beneath the stones, and Roland cannot do anything and is left alone. After a bout of despair, he opens the professor's notes, takes all the remaining explosives, and returns again. Quickly, he finds the well full of human bones. At that moment, Amir wakes up and sees a monster sitting on a throne holding a miner in its hand. He begs this monster to spare his friend and feels a metal knife on the ground. But the monster decapitates the prisoner, who suddenly starts talking to Amir in an alien voice, demanding that he show him the way out and exclaiming, "Oh my God!" Then he kills the young man. The monster grows stronger with every life it takes, and they merge into it, becoming the god. But Amir refuses to prolong the monster's life and stabs the knife into the alien's chest. When it screams in pain, Amir begins to run, and he finds the well that Roland is already climbing. Thrilled that he's there, Roland reaches out to the young man as they climb the well. Afterwards, they place the remaining explosives in the cracks, but soon the monster catches up to them and climbs behind them. Roland realizes that they will not survive and asks Amir to turn the explosive box's handle, fully aware that their fate is to die with the alien. At that moment, Amir turns the handle quickly, but no explosion occurs. Then Roland goes to his colleague and takes the box, turning the handle himself. When he sees that everything is ready, he encourages the young man. They both hold the handle and the explosion consumes the alien and the miners together. Thus, the entrance to this cursed corridor is sealed forever. This film is one that does not aspire to serious and deep thinking. It is an old story about human greed and insatiable thirst. Additionally, the film reminds us once again that it is important to remain human even when you are underground fighting monsters. And this concludes the events of our film today. Stay tuned for upcoming videos and summaries. Goodbye. Thanks for watching Cinema in a Nutshell. If you enjoyed this quick dive into the film, be sure to give us a like. Your support helps us keep the movie magic alive.